The Top Knot Creative Show, the Top Knot Creative Show. Seeking super smart, super talented superheroes. How to be wow over the world and all around. The Top Knot Creative Show, the Top Knot Creative Show.
Hello everyone, this is Shantae Schrader and welcome to the show where we seek out the super smart, super talented, and basically the superheroes who are taking over the world and making it super wow. Today we are talking with Norie Hamilton, owner of Weddings by Norie. She is a master bridal consultant, a member of the Association of Bridal Consultants, and a member of the Denver Weddings Professionals. Since 1996, Norie has been working with couples specializing in church weddings, remarriage celebrations, wedding day assistance, and full planning services. And we are going to find a lot more from Norie, and about Weddings by Norie. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Norie. Thank you for being with us today.
You're certainly welcome, and a happy day to you, too.
Hey, thank you. Now, you are based out of Denver, Colorado. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I have been in business, like you said, from 1996, established right here in Denver.
Where you just got some sun peeking through. We were just talking about after quite a few inches of snow this spring.
Yes, definitely.
So spring might be alive after all there in Denver, Colorado, which is great for wedding season, I'm sure.
Yes, and we usually gear up about April, and then we run through about October.
And are you fully booked for 2013, or are you still able to fit some people in?
I am actually still able to fit a few people. In fact, I have an interview again tomorrow afternoon for a September wedding, so I do have some available time.
Wonderful. I think our listeners are going to be really happy to hear that after they hear so much about you. But let's jump right in. Maybe give us some history on you specifically, kind of what it led you to pick this field of expertise, which was, wedding planning.
It sort of happened by accident, actually. We haven't had a new priest at our church, and he always had someone help him with the weddings, and he asked me because I had done several, functions down at church, and it was just kind of a natural lead-in for me to do that. That's kind of how I started the original church part of it. Mm-hmm. But I have 3 children, and I planned their weddings, and my daughter's was basically the wedding from hell. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, from having 7 bridesmaids in a week before the wedding. The seamstress did not complete the dresses correctly. So I figured if I could deal with that, I could probably deal with most anybody else's problems.
If you can deal with family, then you might be okay with the rest of the world population.
Yes, I thought I really could after that point. When it's your own intimate family, it's a little bit more difficult, but it was a great learning experience for me as to how far my abilities could really carry myself. We actually ended up with a beautiful wedding that no one knew any of the background of the crisis that were going on.
That's wonderful. I think that's kind of how you know that you've hit it, if no one actually knows what's behind the curtain.
That is true.
Wonderful. Now, you specialize in church weddings, remarriage celebrations. Tell us more about that.
Okay, I actually do almost any weddings now. You start off with this plan, but it does change afterwards. Mm-hmm. But remarriages is something I have just started working on only because, the divorce rate is so high, and people, sometimes it's not right the first time. So I think it's important that there's someone there that understands that and is able to help them with more of the different kind of things that happen, such as bonding families and more sets of previous parents, more in-laws. All those kinds of things play into it. And there is a certain etiquette about it that people need to know about. So I have been researching for about a year now, and I feel like I'm comfortable with everything. Plus, I've done quite a few remarriages mm-hmm. over the years I've been in business. So I have a pretty good handle, I think, on what's available out there and how I can be of assistance and still be very understanding about the situation.
Well, I think that's a very distinctive niche that is yet to be filled. I don't think I've heard anyone who knows how to handle those delicate situations specifically. So I think that's a wonderful distinction for you.
I think it will be in the long run. It's just, it's still just getting my name out there because I just made the decision, like I said, about a year ago and started doing some research. And I did find there isn't a lot of consultants that really do specialize for that particular niche.
Mm-hmm. Now, maybe walk us through your process from the time you first meet with a bride, kind of what compels you to, they have to interview with you, correct?
Yes, they do interview.
And then what happens from there?
After we interview, and it's a lot of what the interview is just sitting down, getting comfortable with each other. And I'm a firm believer in the personal touch of things. Mm-hmm. And they really do need to be comfortable with me, and I need to be comfortable with them, because we will be spending quite a bit of time together. But we usually do that in an initial visit, which is I don't charge for my initial visit because that's what it is. We're not going any farther than just visiting, see if we're right for each other. Okay. Then the next step usually is we create a budget for their event. Then I have a particular planning checklist that I use, and it starts from the day we start, that we signed the contract, and all the way through the end of the day, into the planning process. I match vendors to their personalities and their budgets. I review all the contracts. I don't sign contracts, but I do have them. I read them all before they sign them. I assist with bringing my emergency kit. I will bring the wedding gown for the bride that day. I give them etiquette advice. It's rather extensive, even right down to accommodations for their guests. And I even, in my list, it even includes make sure the groom gets a haircut at the proper time so he doesn't look scalped or too shaggy on their wedding day. So it's a very in-depth planning list that I have.
Wonderful.
And then from there we go through, I'm there for the rehearsal, for the ceremony, and for the reception. Occasionally I do need an assistant if we're in two different locations. We go from there to staying through the end of the night. We don't leave when the cake is cut. We leave when the bride and groom leave, and we usually follow out the caterer or the venue manager. So to me that's very important, because at the end of the evening you still have the gifts that need to be taken home, and usually there's wedding cake. So there's all kinds of things that need to be done at the end, and so I pride myself on always staying until the very end of any wedding.
Now, tell us, how would you sell people on the idea of having a wedding planner and a coordinator, to help you with the process and then the day of? What's the benefit of that?
To me, the benefit is that your mother or your aunt or your uncle or your maid of honor, they actually get to be guests at your wedding. They're not there to work, they're there to have fun with you. And in the event that you have a wedding planner, they get to be guests. Plus, a lot of times there are things that go wrong at weddings behind the scenes. Someone's got to let the caterer know that you're ready for dinner to be served. And you don't want them walking up to you when you're having a good time saying, do you want us to do this now? So it's that kind of thing. It's just those little details that nobody really knows goes on behind the scenes, because it's usually their first weddings.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, it's not something everybody does every day. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny because the biggest advocates for wedding planners are the mothers and the brides that did not hire one.
Oh, I'm sure. I love the how you said, allow them to be guests at the wedding.
Because, I get a lot, one of the things that a lot of people ask me is, or tell me, well, my friend's going to do it. And I always tell them, I have some very good friends, but none of my friends love me enough to not enjoy the wedding in my family. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I go with it. And it's just a relief not to have to worry about details, because that's what the bottom line is. And we do a lot of mediating, I'll tell you that much.
Tell us that much. Tell us about some of the mediating.
Well, one of the issues that I had with the couple was that the mother wanted to do a surprise for the couple, and she didn't want them to know about it. Well, the couple was paying me, and I felt like my loyalties were to them. So she wanted it to be a big surprise. So instead of telling the bride itself, I visited with the groom about it, and we did come to the conclusion that it would be all right. But, it's things like that that you have to really think about. And, of course, you're always in the middle of a mother and a daughter, or a mother-in-law and a, daughter-to-be.
Oh, my.
Regarding, well, and part of it is a lot of mothers years ago didn't have these big, beautiful weddings. And so now they want their daughter to have the wedding they never had. And it doesn't always match what the bride wants. So you have to kind of sit down and visit with everyone and come to an agreement of what will actually happen. Like I said, we're advisors, we're mediators, we're financial planners for them, we're supervisors, advisors. We do many more things than just plan out your wedding.
I believe it. And then the day of, it's, let me hold your hand.
Yes. And my day of is a little more involved than most people's. Well, it's getting to be the norm now in that I start about 6 weeks ahead of time because they've created all the contracts and met with their vendors and they have everyone. But my responsibility as a day of coordinator is to make sure that what you have contracted is actually delivered. And the one thing that I always insist on is the last 2 weeks before the wedding is I am in contact with the vendors in the location, so they're not bugging you when you're supposed to be having fun. And also it establishes that I'll be the go-to person that day.
They're familiar.
And I always, yes, and I always write the itineraries for day of or full-service weddings.
Love it. Now, how far in advance would you recommend a bride to get in touch with you?
A year is good, especially in Denver, because we don't have, especially if it's a big wedding, like over 200 people, we don't have a lot of venues other than hotels that can handle that many people. So sometimes your choices of venues is limited. So therefore, I think a year in advance works pretty well for everybody.
And what are 2 to 3 things that you would love for every bride to think of, consider before they talk to you?
I think they just need. I need to quit saying they need to think about how they really want their day to go. It's a very special day. It's a very stressful day. And one of the things that I know brides don't consider, and one of the things that they're led to believe, that if you have a wedding planner at the location, that they're going to take care of everything for you, which is not exactly true. One of the things that we've learned, and the brides will learn afterwards, is that they're not really have the education that we have. And the services from the hotels and venues and caterers is very limited. And the bride needs to ask herself, particularly when she's hiring a consultant, is, are they going to do everything I need them to do, such as bustle my dress, take care of personal items, and then some of them are very personal. You don't want your photographer bustling your dress. You don't want him taking you to the restroom. It happens. Those are big dresses. So it's that kind of thing. How much assistance do I really need? How much interaction do I want with the vendors? The photographer, yes, you have to. I mean, he's very up close and personal as well, but that's his line of expertise. Catering, the food is their expertise. The florist is flowers. So I think it's important to hire an expert in each of the fields that can coordinate everything, as opposed to one or two and hope that it all works out okay.
Yes. Hope it works out okay on the day of, that you don't get a do-over.
That's right.
Now, what else? If someone was looking to hire an expert, I know this is becoming more and more of a competitive field. More and more people are setting up businesses. And like with anything, you can get those who really, really have the expertise and know-how and insights. And then you can get those who just think, oh, well, this seems to be a great moneymaker, so I'll just set up, a little shop. What should we be looking for And what would be red flags?
The most important thing, if I were to look for someone, would be your credibility. Like you said, there's a lot of businesses that are just upstarts. A lot of girls do their weddings and say, oh, this is wonderful, I'm going to become a wedding planner. Mm-hmm. It takes years of experience to be able to handle some of the crises that occur. I think education is very important. I have taken every class that the Association of Bridal Consultants offers. Continuing education, I have gone to the MBA. I've been to the the Association of Bridal Consultants annual conferences. I think I've missed maybe 3 in all the years I've been a member. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important, that you keep up with the trends and that you're current with everything, but also just the fact that you have the experience. One of the biggest weddings I ever had was the most crisis-filled. I don't think some of the young girls could handle the fact that an entire glass of red wine gets spilled down the front of a bridal gown. You have to know how to handle that situation, and you have to have the right product. So that comes from research. We have an excellent product. Took all the wine out. Mother said it was worth every penny she spent on me. But those are the things that I feel are important. Experience, education, being up to date on the trends, and most importantly, calm. I think you need someone who is comfortable doing what they're doing and is calm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially on the day of, when there's a lot of needing to counsel, but also to corral. So knowing when to, kind of start cracking the whip, and when to be, more subtle about conversations. I think those are great tips.
Yes, and moving people is always a challenge. I have a neat little way I do it, where I just very gently put my hand on their back and we start walking. I don't want to be rude and interrupt their conversations with their friends, because that's what it's all about for them. But, we still have a timeline. So there's gentle ways you can do that, and I have established one that works very well for me.
Now, what is your favorite part, whether it's a moment, during the day, or it's part of the planning? What's your very favorite part that makes it all worthwhile for you?
My favorite part is when I send the bride down the aisle. I still get teary after all these years. It's that moment that all this planning has led up to, is that walk down the aisle, whether it's in the mountains, whether it's at a park, no matter where it is. It's just a very touching moment. It's when everybody's waiting for her, and more often than not, her dad or her mom are on her arm. It's a very moving moment for me. And I love their first dances. They've waited a long time to share that moment together. Mm. That, and I love father-daughter dances.
I love that. That's a precious moment, for sure. Now, what is in store for you, Norie, Weddings by Norie?
Well, like I said, we're working on the additional side of the business, is the second marriages and elopements. Are, with Colorado being a destination location, a lot of people just come here and just have a few friends and have a very intimate wedding. And I think I might expand into some anniversary celebrations. Like I said earlier, some of the brides years ago didn't have that special celebration, and they're doing it more now. They're even having bridesmaids and best men, and bringing back their originals and having a dance and everything. So I think that those 3 areas, the elopements, the second marriages, and anniversary celebrations, is on my agenda for the future.
That's wonderful. Now, we did discuss that you are filling up fast for 2013, but if people want to reach out to you, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way is really either by phone or by email. And my number is 303-452-4802. And my email address is Norie@weddingsbynorie.com. I don't mind if they go to my website, but I'm in the process of redoing it. It's still up, but they're more than welcome to visit it. Those things help. And then I am on Facebook. I'm not real active, but I am there. So any event they send me a message on Facebook, I would find it there too.
Wonderful. But to our listeners, make sure you visit. We'll have all the links on the website as well. If you are looking to work with Norie for 2013, I would say hurry and get in touch with her now. Otherwise, looks like 2014 is probably a good option as well. Norie, is there anything else that you would love to hit on and to talk about before we wrap the show today?
I think I'm okay. I just want everyone to know that I truly love what I do, and I do it because I do love it. It's hard work. It's a long day for the wedding day, but the joy in seeing this couple share the most special day of their life is important to me. And to be a part of that is an unbelievably wonderful feeling.
I love that, and it definitely resonates. I think that your genuine love of what you do, and the love of each moment, it definitely comes through, and I am sure every bride keeps you as a close friend for years and years after their special day, and I just think that's a wonderful gift that you give to them.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep. And with that, we will wrap the show. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Norie, so much for joining us today.
You are welcome. It's been my pleasure. It's been fun.
Yeah.
That's what life should be, fun.
It's so true. And I think with you by our sides, then we have more opportunity to have fun during those special moments. So thank you for that. And to our audience, thank you for listening. Now get out there and build something beautiful. Until next time, take care.